All right, for your stingray, go ahead and grab your string, whatever color you have, and unwind it. So the first thing I do is I grab the end and I tie a knot in the air. So I wrap it around, so it's an X, and then it goes through, so you have a loop. So that's the first step, you want your loop. And then for the stingray, you can pick any nail you want. So I'm just gonna go over on this side, and then I put it down over one of the nails and put my finger, untie it. And then for this, you're gonna wanna do a double knot. So again, I like to tie it this way, it's easier. And like that. And then if you have a super long tail like this, before you start, you don't have to, but I like to trim it so it's out of my way. Just a personal thing. Okay, so now I'm actually gonna show you the border steps. You can do this first or at the very end, but I think it looks good. It just helps give you your outline, and then from there you'll just color it in. So holding the string tight with one hand, you're gonna wrap around the nails. And this just starts coloring it. You're just gonna do that. And this is actually step 1 of 4 to get a super thick line. You can do just this, it's perfectly fine, but I'll show you what it looks like later. And here, we'll just go down this way. And then from here, you're gonna go back up. Kind of a sneak peek of what's to come. See, so this is kind of one of the other steps we're gonna do up here. But because the tail is a skinny little thing, it's gonna be a little different. So we're just getting our shape outlined so you can see your stingray better. So fun. And I like to see how I'm using this other hand to kind of hold it in place. And that kind of helps it. So if it does start to get loose, see how it goes down, down, down? That's if you're not holding the string tight. But look, you just keep stringing it. It won't mess it up, it just means you get to do it again. So double the fun. So we're gonna keep going around. And then for this one, make sure you follow the pattern. So for this right here, you're gonna go down and up and then back down to get the head of the stingray. Okay, so now what I like to do is the crisscross. And this is steps 2 and 3. You're gonna keep going around, but you're gonna go side to side. Instead of around like this, just crisscross back and forth. You can still wrap it, going around the corners and so, back and forth. I wrap every now and then, not for every single one. So just back and forth, back and forth. And then for down here, back and forth, back and forth. And then this is kind of step 3. So again, we're skipping ahead. You're gonna end up going back the other direction, back and forth. And if you see, it's kind of like an X in between each of the nails. And this is actually the solid border because we already did that other part. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay, so we're just gonna keep going around and around, back and forth, back and forth. When you get to corners, then you're gonna wanna wrap to help you change direction. And then you just keep going and going and going. Wrap. You can wrap here, go down, wrap. And then for this one, we're actually gonna keep going a second time around because it's now doing a crisscross on the other side. So you're starting your X compared to here where you have one crisscross. Down here, if you keep going, you'll get that second X. See, so now all down here, we're getting an X and X and X and X and X. So you're just gonna keep going all the way down and around. And now, since technically you've done the tail, you don't have to do any of this down here. You can to make it more of a solid look, but I'm just gonna keep going this way. And then after this, I do one more step. I'll just kind of skip ahead and you can pause and go ahead just so you don't have to listen to me. Okay, so now you've gone around 1, 2, 3 times. The 4th time, you can kind of go backwards. So from where you are, wrap it and wrap on the inside of the nails. And so if you've noticed, it's gotten thicker and thicker as an outline border. And it just helps identify, not identify, what's the word? I can't think of the word. The outline sharpens the look of it, makes it look cleaner and more solid. And what you can do down here too, you can kind of go into a big loop, makes it look a little neater. Doing one last pass. And then for these big curves, I like to kind of cheat, and I'll just hold it and go down a bunch of them and then wrap it. So now we have the border. And again, these steps you can do at the very end, but I like to show it at the beginning specifically because it's easier to see when there's not all the string in between. But there we go, that's the border. And I'm gonna show you the steps for just filling this in. Technically it kind of looks cool just with the outline, but this, there's no rhyme or reason. You can go any direction you want. And just like you've been wrapping around, it's that same idea. You can wrap it all the way. You can just hook it like doing the X's, and you can go any way you want. So you're just gonna, I like to wrap it, and then it helps change direction. So you can go the other way. You can go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth like this to fill it in. Usually what I do is I'll start with a bunch of the same pattern like this, back and forth, back and forth. I'll do this, and then I'll switch directions once I get to the end, like this. And you can see I've kind of turned it as I go, so you can also do that. And then another trick is now that it's starting to get the netting in between, you can sort of push down, because all of these down here, you have more space if you push your string farther down to the wood. Okay, so you don't have to do that, but if you notice it's getting harder to loop the string around, that's how you fix it. See, so you just kind of keep going, and I like to call this the coloring. And it's just so fun, and there's no, there's no way to do it wrong, because you can go any way you want. And I think that's why I like this part the best. And you just keep going until you like how it looks. Crisscrossing, up and down, back and forth, side to side. And see how I just did right here? I'll undo it and show you. So what we did in here, I don't know if you caught that, but it is a figure 8, more or less. So if you want to do any nail, pick 2 nails, you can do a figure 8 between there, where you go down and around, and you do criss, cross, and then you have a figure 8 just like down here. Same thing like here, so you can go back in there, and then back in there. So that helps if there's one random spot that looks like it's just not getting filled in for whatever reason. And sometimes that happens, and that's okay. That's where that figure 8 will help you get a much thicker filled in look in that one section if it's not filling in right, and it looks kind of weird to you, then you can do that. Yeah, you're just gonna keep going and going and going until you either run out of string or it's filled in. Ah, see what I just did? So I didn't hold it tight enough. But look how easy it is just to fix it. So it's not broken. I'm recording to tell them how to string a stingray.
What are you talking to?
My phone.
Where's your phone?
My phone is right up here.
Oh.
It's watching do this.
Boo boo.
Yeah, huh? Little 3-year-old.
Alligator.
Yeah. Alligator, yeah. So look, okay. And then you can kind of like look back and see if there's any empty spots that you want to go over. I try and send plenty of string, so you should have extra, so you don't have to. In the morning, unicorn. I hate this child. So anyways, I try and send extra string. So that you have more than enough. I'd rather have you extra string than not enough where you're not happy with it. So you might want to end before you run out of string, and that's okay.
What the heart? Land the in a dark way.
Okay. this way a few times. Push down my little net. Okay. I don't like how this one seems like it's popping up on its own little plane, so I'm going to do a few more just to help mix it in, because I don't know why. Sometimes it just happens where it looks out of place, I guess. So we do a few more passes. Then after you've filled it in, you can either do that border one more time. Here, I'll show you what I mean. Yeah, that's cute. All right, so as a final thing, if you have leftover string, one thing you can do is that very first step where you string it on the outside, and then we'll just kind of compare. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to do this. You can try it and see if you like the look better. I just sort of do it so there's a solid line kind of at the top rather than the bottom. But again, I like showing you guys the border first, just so it's easier to see. Because if I tried to show it, it would just get caught between all of these and it would be hard to see all the cute details. Here we go. Whoops. And while I'm down here, it looks like this one could use a little more. So I'm going to go a double figure 8 between these ones, because that little bit's kind of bugging me. Okay. Push it down. And after this, all you have to do is pick any spot wherever you're ending and tie a double knot again, just like in the very, very beginning. And that'll secure it. So you can even go across and loop. I'm left-handed, so I tend to go a certain way. And you guys will be opposite maybe. Okay, and then you grab your scissors so you don't need the rest of this. We'll just move that apart. Give yourself plenty to tie with. And then again, just like in the beginning, hold tight and then get your other end and create your little lasso right here. I don't know if you can see that better. So you have your little lasso and then pick any nail. We'll just pick this one, loop the lasso over and then trap it with your finger. And then, whoops, did I lose it? We'll find out. I think I lost it. Sometimes when I go too slow. Okay, I did go too slow. All right, so you're gonna loop it and then pull. There we go. Okay, and then on the same nail, you're gonna do one more knot. One more little one, loop it on there. And sometimes I even do a third one just for fun because, you know, why not? Then if you're left with this wonderful extra little thing, go ahead and trim it. Don't trim it where it's touching the nail or else the knot will come undone. So do about like a finger, cut to about here. I don't know, is that a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, something like that. And just trim it like that. And then I use the open end of the scissors and my fingers. And this little bit, you're just gonna tuck into the layers of string. Just be careful you don't somehow cut the string. And then after that, you are all done and you've got a cute little stingray.